Hey you guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to go over what happened in court with Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt. I'm going to give you my understanding of kind of what unfolded and what my initial understanding was versus what I came away with. I am not somebody who is an attorney. I do not work in law or the legal field, but I am somebody who has an opinion-based channel here on YouTube. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts and my understanding of everything that happened, we're going to go over it, hopefully in a very concise and not super long and drawn out manner. Hopefully that works for y'all. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so two things before I get into this video. One is I realize that I do kind of these compact videos sometimes, and I've received comments over the last few months, really spread out, but I feel like today is a good day to go ahead and address those comments where, people are basically thinking that I'm throwing shade at YouTubers who do long form content. That is not it at all. Never has been, never will be. I am here to produce the content that is within my means and within my bandwidth and within my time schedule and everything else that I have going on. I'm sure most of y'all know, but if you don't, I do work full time and I have, a whole life to try to manage outside of YouTube. And sometimes just doing these compact to the point videos is what works for me. Once in a while I have time, I will put a longer form video out, but that's just what works for me. I'm not shading anybody else. I like long form content myself, but it's not always what works for my schedule and what I can give to y'all. So I hope you understand. The second thing I want to address is my understanding going into a sentencing hearing is that we would walk away knowing what sentence was going to be given to Ruby and Jodi. Again, I'm not an attorney, I don't work in the legal field, but that was my understanding. You hear sentencing hearing and you think, okay, well, their sentences are going to be presented to them at this hearing. That's not the way that Utah does it, and that is something that I learned today. Thanks to Emily D. Baker. I will link her video down below. But basically, at this point in time, we do not know exactly how many years were given to Ruby and Jodi. We know that some prison time is going to be given to them. We don't know if it's going to be 4 or 60 years. We do have some good news that they are going to be back to back to back, which is amazing. But I don't want y'all to go into this video thinking that I'm going to give you the number, because nobody knows the number despite this being a sentencing hearing. So let's just start at the top. I learned a little bit about Utah today. Ruby Franke, a former family vlogger and parenting advice guru, has been sentenced to 4 prison terms of 1 to 15 years, meaning she will face 4 to 60 years in prison on charges of child abuse. The Utah mom was arrested back in August 2023 on multiple charges of child abuse after one of her kids escaped her oversight and ran to a neighbor asking for food and help. She pleaded guilty to 4 felony counts of second-degree aggravated child abuse as part of a plea agreement in December of 2023. Her business partner, Jodi Hildebrandt, also pled guilty to the charges. Both women were handed down the same sentencing recommendation Tuesday in a Utah court by 5th District Judge John Walton. Franke and Hildebrandt will serve 1 to 15 years in prison consecutively per count, meaning the pair could serve as little as 4 years or as many as 60 years. State Prosecutor Eric Clark called the conditions the Franke and Hildebrandt children lived in camp-like, as the women convinced the kids that they were evil and possessed and needed to be punished to repent. In a public apology read to the court through tears, Franke, who has largely placed the blame for the on Hildebrandt's alleged brainwashing said in part, "I'll never stop crying for hurting your tender souls," referring to her children who were not present in the courtroom. "My willingness to sacrifice all for you was masterfully manipulated into something very ugly. I took from you all that was soft and safe and good." The actual jail time served will now be up to the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole. Now, I'm not going to rehash everything that was, brought forth with these charges because they are egregious and frankly, they make me sick to my stomach. And I don't think that they need to be read out for the, 78th time. I've covered that in previous videos. What I would like to say, Ruby talking in court today and giving this sob story, she can take it and shove it, because I don't buy it for a second. I don't buy for a second that a mother did not know to not abuse her children. A mother did not know or gave up protecting her children. A mother did not think, I'm a fully functioning adult. Why don't I go ahead and stop all of this nonsense brainwashing that's going on and take my kids and leave this, wackadoodle Jodi Hildebrandt's home? I understand that brainwashing does happen, and a lot of times it is because of religion. That is just the fact of the matter. But I do not give an ounce of pity to Ruby Franke. I do not believe that her tears are sincere. I don't think that her sorrow is genuine. And I damn sure don't believe that she was masterfully manipulated by Jodi Hildebrandt. I think that they both need to serve the same amount of time in prison. I think that they both of their souls need to rot in hell for all of eternity. I think that both of them can take their tears and send them to the Mormon church because nobody wants them. Any loving parent would have never allowed this to happen. And she allowed it to happen for months on end because she was so brainwashed by Jodi. Give me a break. Ruby Franke, Jodi Hildebrandt, put them under the jail, leave them there for the rest of eternity. I really don't care. I have no pity, I have no sorrow, and I don't have pity or sorrow for Kevin, and I think that it's absolutely embarrassing that he is being let off scot-free, and he's just the dad who is trying to put everything back together. So many of the adults in this situation had so many opportunities for somebody to say, this has to stop now. I will play a clip of Ruby's tearful pity party that she presented in court, just for context, but it is enraging. Spoiler alert.
My mother-in-law, father-in-law, Kevin's family, my cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, and neighbors, you all saw the warning signs long before I did, and you did what you could. You wanted to help, but I pushed you away. My mother and father, I have been utterly wretched to you. You have offered me unconditional love, and for that I have offered you unconditional contempt. My siblings and their spouses, because of my decision to roll around in a pigsty, I have dragged your families through the mud in public. Yet, when I desired to return as a prodigal sister, unlike the prodigal's brother in the Bible, you synced step with my parents and ran up to greet me. Your capacity to love is unprecedented. Kevin, my husband of more than 23 years, you are the love of my life. I'm so sorry to leave to you to finish what we both started together. The ending of our marriage is a tragedy. And you are wrapped around my heart. And now I'll never be able to undo. To my babies, my 6 little chicks, you were part of me. I was the mama duck who was consistently running you to safety. I can see now that over the past 4 years I was in a deep undercurrent that led us to danger. I would launch into darkness knowingly. I was so disoriented that I believed dark was light and light was wrong. I would do anything in this world for you. My willingness to sacrifice all for you was masterfully manipulated into something very ugly. I took from you all that was soft and safe and good. I took from you your mother. How terrifying this must have been for you. I will never stop crying. You are hurting my tender souls. You're so precious to me. I'm sorry. My choice to live in fear of the world has created a great vulnerability and a blind spot for me, where I have broken hearts and I've caused people to suffer and I have betrayed sacred trust. Watching my community respond to my charges with justice and mercy and grace and love is all the evidence to me how wrong I've been. This world is full of really good people. And finally, I'm sorry for twisting God's word and distorting his doctrines. My greatest desire is to stand in his court someday spotless and confident. And Judge Walton, I know that standing before you today is a necessary step towards that end. Thank you to you and your staff for facilitating my opportunity to take accountability and to answer for my charges. I am humbled and willing to serve a prison sentence as long as it takes to continue unraveling all of the misinformation I have believed and bought, swallowed, and acted out, and for my family to heal and for the community to heal. And I understand this is going to take time. I'm committed to continuing my learning until all of my toxic layers are shed, and I am ready to re-enter as a contributing member of our beautiful society.
And as I've mentioned in previous videos, Ruby Franke was not only ugly and corrupt and an abuser because of Jodi Hildebrandt, she is somebody who had a long history of mistreating her children, withholding food, sending her son Chad to a wilderness camp, which, by the way, there was a poor young child who was at a wilderness camp recently in North Carolina, literally just a couple days ago, who literally died within days of arriving at the camp, and the condition that he was found in was absolutely heartbreaking. I know that's not what this video is about, but my point is that Ruby Franke and Kevin Franke displayed their egregious parenting style for everybody to consume on YouTube, and they were allowed to be made millionaires off of it. They have a long history. Now, obviously, we didn't see any of this being broadcast to YouTube because they were hiding it. But I don't think that something just like switched one day and Ruby Franke went from being a good protective mom to being somebody who was corrupt and willing to abuse her children day after day after day. You allowed Jodi Hildebrandt to send your children out with no socks and no shoes in the scalding Utah sun to do yard work and to have children thrown into cactuses. Ruby Franke literally tried to drown her child. But let me reel it in because I know I said I wasn't going to rehash those, but every single time, like, the whole thing is just so upsetting. Like I said, I hope that both of them are thrown under the prison because, frankly, people like Ruby and Jodi don't deserve to coexist with other prisoners. People that are on that level, that abuse children, belong under the jail. But nevertheless, today was the sentencing hearing, even though we don't have a firm number as to what is going to take place. I think the fact that they are going to be back-to-back is a bit of good news to come out of this, but we will just have to wait and see what the state decides to do with these two monsters. And of course, I will keep an eye on it and report any updates. Let's hope that they get the absolute max of the max. But to be honest, I'm not going to hold my breath because, frankly, I think the whole state of Utah might be a little different, and that's what I'll say for now. So, nevertheless, that's the update on Ruby and Jodi and how I feel about everything. So, drop your thoughts down below. If you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon.